All right, what is up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, coming in with a shadow campaign. So I wanted to kind of introduce this early before it gets started so that we can have enough people sign up for it. I think it will be exciting. I'm really excited for it, basically. And this will happen after the league is finished, and there's one more round of the league. Basically, this will head over to championships, and then the championship will win a commander expansion of their choice, or operative, whatever, the commander or operative expansion of their choice. And yeah, then we will head over to the shadow campaign, which I've basically tried to set up now. And I'll go ahead and explain everything for you guys so that way you get a great idea of what we will be doing. So head on over to the Discord and check it out if you haven't already. And the giveaway for the order tokens are still going on. All you have to do is leave a comment and be a subscriber, and or head over to the Discord, which is in the description down below, and just start commenting away. And you will, when you level up, you'll get more entries in to win. So we'll go ahead and I'll start explaining the campaign for you guys. I'm so excited. So first off, you're going to play in your respective eras. So it'll be basically Rebels versus Empire, and then Shadow Collective can be in that one, or Republic versus CIS versus Shadow Collective. So basically, Shadow Collective, there's going to be one team for Shadow Collective, and you'll have a team captain for Rebels, Empire, Republic, CIS, and Shadow Collective. And for the Shadow Collective, specifically, you will determine if you want to be in the Civil War era or the Clone Wars era. So you will pick which one you want. That way it's just kind of, whatever you want there. Preferably Republic versus CIS versus Shadow Collective, but it's whatever the Shadow Collective wants. And you will have, these will be your teams. So, and then you'll pick a team captain in your entire team. I'm really hoping for 7 to 9 players per faction, so that is a lot of players, obviously. So I'm really hoping that getting this out early will get people excited for it, because I'm kind of basing this off of like Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2, and purchasing stuff. And when you win, you get a certain amount. When you lose, you get a certain amount. And you will start off with a certain amount of points as well, and I will go ahead and get into it. So basically, each person's going to start with 1,000 points to spend on the units that they want to add to their reserves or your army. Then you will start off with a certain number of stuff. Basically, I'm trying to line this up really well with the new starter kits. So the new starter sets, what they come out with is basically what you're going to get. And every time you win, you will basically be awarded 500 points to be able to spend. Each time you lose, you're still going to get something so that you can still at least continue to build your army and not just be unable to do anything throughout the entire campaign. So I wanted to make sure that there was something for everybody, that you'll be able to kind of get what you want. So as I was saying, so Empire will start with Commander Vader and a limited amount of Stormtroopers. So you can have as many Stormtrooper units as you want, 2 Scout Trooper units, and a Speeder Bike unit. And the reason, I know that the Speeder Bike is not in the new starter set, but if you look at every other faction box, they all come with 4 total units, almost in a way, and I'll keep going. So I wanted to add the Speeder Bike to Empire, so that way there's at least something other than just Scout Troopers and Stormtroopers and Vader. So yeah, you'll get a Speeder Bike as well. So Rebels will get Commander Luke, as many Rebel Trooper unit core units as you want, 1 Commandos unit and 1 Wookiee unit that you can use. And then with 1,000 points, you can, and I'll go over the cost of everything in just a second. So with your 1,000 points that you begin with, you'll have this, and then your 1,000 points, and I'll keep going. So, but yeah, you'll start with 1 Commando unit and 1 Wookiee unit. When you buy a unit, like a core unit, say you're in Rebels, and you buy the fleets, then you're going to buy the entirety of the fleets, okay? And then I'll kind of go over the nuance with CIS and Shadow Collective in a second. And then when you buy Wookiees, you'll have unlimited Wookiees. You unlock it, basically. But this is what you start with. So General Kenobi Clone infantry, an infinite amount of clone infantry. One ARC squad and one ARF squad will be for the Republic. With your ARF squad, it does include one generic commander or one generic Jedi that you'll be able to use with that. With the ARCs, it's going to already include Fives and Echo, because that's kind of like what the box was going to have. And I know that they're going to have, Fives and Echo separately, but for just at least for the campaign, you'll start with, Echo and Fives in that one ARCs squad. Okay. Now, it's like when you want to buy Ahsoka, when you buy her as the commander, you'll be able to use her then in the core from then on, like as that upgrade. So that'll kind of be a little bit differently. CIS is going to start with Grievous, infinite amount of B1s that you want, one B2 unit, and Droidicus. So I know that there's only 2 core, but so there's Geonosians as well. But when you're starting with one B2 unit, so like if you don't want to buy other B2s, then that's fine. Yeah, with the B2 unit, you can use the squad on that. If you want to spend the amount of points that it's worth for the core to buy B2s, then you can have an unlimited amount of B2s that you want. But at least you just start with one B2 unit and then one Droideka unit. And then if you decide to buy Droidekas, you can use 3 Droidekas at that point. It doesn't matter. You get unlimited. Shadow Collective, we'll start with Maul. Unlimited amount of pikes, 1 Black Sun unit, and 1 Mando unit. That Mando unit will include the Rook mini in there, so that you can use Rook in that first Mando unit. If you buy a core and you buy the Black Sun, well, then you have infinite amount of Black Sun. They'll also start with 1 Capo and 1 Vigo that you can use in or out of. We're going to say it has to be in the unit. It basically, just imagine you got the starter box, and that's what you have to do. Okay, so when you're building, you have the ability to make it a Capo or Vigo, or you have the ability to put it in the unit. You will have to pick one to begin with, unless you go ahead and spend the money, or points, I should say, to buy the commander specifically, and then you can infinitely use that commander in whatever you want. So I'll go ahead and get into what everything costs. So commanders are going to cost 350 points. Commanders with no command cards will cost 200 points. Force users are going to cost 700 points. Operatives are 400 points. Core units are 200 points. Special forces units are 350. Support units are 400, and heavy units are 500. It might seem like, holy crap, those are super expensive for all of the units. Well, I mean, yes, you're going to start out with 1,000, so there's definitely something you can get with that. But every time you win, you get 500. Every time you lose, you get 200. And then you get an extra 200 a week for having your home base secured. And then, there's a lot of ways to get tons of points. So don't worry about it. I'm just trying to make this almost kind of like, it's going to take time to build your army, like a little bit of time, like say just like a few battles, and then you're practically set. So pick wisely. Also, Back to Tanks will be available for 500 points, and it basically lets a commander or operative come back immediately if you've rolled a 5 or 6. So let me get into rolling and what the rolling is for. So if a commander or operative dies during a game, if it has the little dot next to the name where it's a unique and it's the only one, you will have to roll a 6-sided dice. That 6-sided dice, if it's a 1 or 2, that unit is fully healed. You can use them still in the next game like nothing ever happened. If it's a 3 or 4, they're out forever and they're out of the game. So like say that you played Commander Vader and you lose him and you rolled a 3 or 4, you can still buy Operative Vader and still have him to use. But you can't use the Commander Vader anymore. And that goes with like Luke as well. So yeah, if there's like for Luke and I think it's really only Luke and Vader that it works like that. If it's a 5 or 6, it's going to sit out the next game. But if you spent 500 points to get a Back to Tank, you have a 4 out of 6 chance of having the unit still alive, there's really a third of a chance that you don't get the chance to use them anymore. But again, if you pay 500 points, it's almost kind of like you can roll a 1, 2, 5, or 6 and then not be hurt. But the back to tank, I will determine if that is a constant thing or if it's a one-time use thing. I'll basically talk with the people who want to help me run this. If you're interested in helping me run this, then let me know. Go ahead and leave a comment down below or hit me up in the Discord and help me out with this. It'd be a great opportunity, I think. But yeah, that's the rules. That's how things are going to play out. Okay, so basically, once you've chosen a faction, you are locked into that faction. Your list can change, and you can rearrange your army for each game how you want, but you have to submit your list before each game to prevent changing it based on your opponent's army. So that way you're not cheating. You have to submit your list before you play the game, either to your team leader or the ledger, which will be under the campaign in the Discord, under that channel, or under that topic, whatever it is. You'll basically have your GAR, your CIS, your Empire, your Rebel, and your Shadow Collective discussion, text chat or text channel. And then there's voice stuff, specifically in case you wanted to call each other to talk. And then there is a general section for everybody who wants to just kind of talk about whatever. And then there is a ledger. So every time you buy something with your points, you will have to put the points you had, what you're buying, and the points you have left. And then that's the ledger. And then before each game, either to free up the ledger to just prevent spamming of lists, then I might just put a list channel, so that way you have to submit your list there before you play. And that's it. And you and your opponent will basically will contact each other and say, hey, you're on this planet. And then, okay, I'm trying to get onto that planet. We're going to go ahead and let's submit our lists onto the list submission channel. And then we will play each other whenever. All right, so next up, each person is going to start on their home planet. And I'll explain what your planet is in just a little bit. At the beginning of the campaign, you will pick a planet and a team captain, like I was talking about. You're going to pick a planet to go to, basically. And then only one person can challenge a single planet at a time. If someone from the opposing team has picked that planet, you're going to set a time to play, submit your lists, and then you can play for that planet. Whoever wins that battle will gain control of the planet and be awarded the planetary bonus. And I'll, again, go over the bonuses in just a minute. Each planet's going to have a bonus. And you have to play on that planet and win in order to get that bonus. Because there's the ability to swap planets with a teammate, and you can't just swap planets and then get the bonus because your team controls it. You yourself have to control it in order to get that bonus. So you have to play a game and win in order to get that bonus. So if you lose a battle, you're going to start back on your home planet, and then you can, again, choose a planet you want to go to and go from there. If you choose a planet that an opposing team has not yet challenged yet, so basically if there's no one who's declared, I want to go to this planet, and then an opponent has said that they wanted to go to other planets, and there's no one for that planet, you can change your option, or you can wait onto that planet until somebody else wants to battle it, but you won't get the bonus until then. So you work with your team and try to figure stuff out, and work with the other team captains to say, all right, well, there's only a certain amount of people we have in our team. You have one more person on your team than we do. So, that one person's going to have to pick a planet. And if no one challenges them within the week, they're going to automatically get 500 points for an auto win. And then whatever planet they're on, they'll get that bonus. That's what we'll have to do if there's not enough people on the opposing team. Because I don't want you to just sit on a planet and never get a bonus or never get any points because there's not enough people on the opposing team. So we will make sure to figure that out whenever that time comes. Each faction that controls more planets than your opponent will get a weekly bonus of an extra 200 points. If you control a planet and want to change planets, you can collaborate with a teammate and swap planets, but you don't gain the planetary bonus unless you have successfully battled and won on that planet, like I was saying earlier. Now, if your home planet is defeated and controlled by the other team, you will have 3 chances to take it back and reclaim your home planet. After those 3 chances, you basically lose the campaign. And so I'm debating if it's exactly going to be 3 chances or if you have a certain amount of days to get it back. The thing is like, since some people are going to be very busy, after a week, someone might not have the ability to play during that week. They might have to take a week, like the following week, to play. So then it would kind of suck. But if you have 3 chances, then the time frame doesn't matter, but it's like 3 strikes, you're out kind of deal. And if you're unsuccessful to basically reclaim the home planet, your team loses the campaign. So you want to make sure that you've got someone who can really control that planet with a good army. And then the other way to win the campaign is basically you control every planet and maintain control over them for 7 days. Okay? So those are the biggest ways to win the campaign, and kind of like maybe a strategy to figure out what you want to do in the campaign. So let me go over the different eras and the planets that'll be in that era and the bonuses that they will provide. So Coruscant is going to be the Republic homeworld. It's going to give the entire Republic team an extra 200 points per week if under control. Now, what I forgot to type on here is that the person who successfully defends the planet is going to gain an extra 200. And then since you won, you get 500. So you're going to get 700 points for defending the planet successfully. So it's important to make sure that you have a player that can control it. And you can't, just sell stuff from your army. But also you're going to want people who have been successfully defending other planets. Maybe if they've been able to build up a good army, but they've lost and they have to head home now, the person who was defending can maybe go and, change planets. And then now that somebody's back there automatically, they didn't have to swap. They can just say, hey, look, now that you're on this planet, I'm going to go and attack Kashyyyk or whatever, And so now you have somebody who's still on the home planet, and now the weekly bonus has hit. They've got 400 points altogether. Now they can go buy a support unit or a special forces unit or 2 core units or whatever they want, kind of deal. So Kashyyyk is going to provide 1 free special forces unit to the player that battles and wins, controls it basically. So that way you get 500 points and a special forces unit. Okay. Now Felucia is going to provide an extra 300 points. So if you win, you get 800 points. So again, that's why I was saying it might seem like these units are expensive, but if you're winning, you're going to be able to really do well. If you're losing, at least you still get 200 points, and then if your home planet is there, you get an extra 200 points at the end of the week. You passed go, collect your 200 points, and now you've got 400. You can again go buy some core stuff. You can battle multiple times per week, any times per day, whatever. If you want to go on a campaign streak and you just want to spend all day trying to campaign and beat people who are available to play, that's why I also want a lot of people who are available. I also want about 9 people because that's 1 person per planet. Since we'll have 9 planets per era. And I'm going to try to work with Ryan. If not, I'm going to try to do my best to make some of these maps for these planets. And then when you go to that planet, you will just find that map, put it on, and then you'll play on that map. Okay. Geonosis is going to provide 1 free commander or operative unit to the player that wins and controls it. Ryloth will provide 1 free support unit to the player who is controlling it. That way, I try to be a little bit, a little thematic in some of these, but it just, and Kashyyyk with special forces, you got your Wookiees there. You've got your scouts, your pre-scouts, 222nd, no, or 4 something, 3, I don't know what it is, but yeah, the future scout trooper kind of looking guys, that was there. And then Felucia was a money hub in a way, and Geonosis, all the commanders and operatives were fighting over control over there. There's a lot of them there, so yeah, okay, you get the point. All right, so next up we have Corellia. Corellia is going to provide 1 free heavy unit to the player controlling it. Mandalore. I wanted to also, on top of getting free units, give free training and or gear slots. The Rebels and Empire are going to have some good ones that I think you'll want to see. But Mandalore, it will provide a gear upgrade that gives you Surge to Defend to that unit. So if you win, you're going to get a training upgrade, and you can put this on whatever unit has the training slot. So you could give this to the clone infantry unit. You could give this to the clone commando, or not clone commandos. Well, yeah, clone commandos. But I think, yeah, they got training slot. You could give it to the BX commandos. Whoever you want can gain that Surge to Defend, giving them basically Beskar from Mandalore. Naboo is going to provide 2 separate gear upgrades, and they will be the back to capsules. So if you played Legacy Legion, when you were playing the supply drop, and you searched through those crates, you wanted the back to capsules. Well, if you win on Naboo, you will get 2 upgrades for back to capsules that are basically heal 1 for free, heal 1, capacity 1 as a free action. Now, I know that this could get really crazy with ARC troopers because they've got 2 gear slots, so maybe you could give them 2 back to capsules, but that's almost the same thing as having, the emergency stims, and then you have a medic on there already. So maybe you'd have emergency stims and then a back to capsule on there and a medic. So that could be crazy. You basically are able to take 2 wounds and not, roll 2 blanks and not have to worry about it still. But this also can go on, I think, BX commandos and not Geonosians, some commanders and stuff like that you've got, like Kalani and Poggle, and I think maybe Sunfac. They can put those on there. So if it's useful. And if I need to make one for specifically droids and make it like a comms thing or just a personnel upgrade, we'll see. At least it can be used for both. That was the plan. And then Raxus is the home planet for CIS, and is, again, going to give them 200 points per week, and then whoever successfully defends it gets an extra 200 on top of the 500. So lots of ways to gain a ton of points. So now we'll go to the Civil War planets. So Coruscant, all right, it's the home planet for Empire. It's going to do the same thing, 200 points per week, and 200 points for successfully defending it. Okay. Endor is going to provide 1 free Special Forces unit to the player controlling it. It's kind of like the foresty units, or the foresty planets like to give the Special Forces out. Scout Troopers were introduced on Endor, and then Ewoks are introduced on Endor, and they have Special Forces units, so the Slingers. So I figured, why not? Hoth is going to provide 1 free core unit to the player controlling it. We kind of saw Snowtroopers and Veterans on Hoth for the first time, so I figured, let's try to go with Hoth having a free core unit. So if you win and you get the core unit, it's not 1 unit of core. So it's whenever you buy core or get the free core, it's the entirety, infinite amount of that unit. So now you can, and that goes with every unit though. Whenever you buy with your points a unit, you get an infinite amount of them. You never have to worry about it, except for the uniques, obviously. Now, the Tatooine. So it's going to provide 1 free support unit to the player controlling it. So now, if you win, you get whatever support unit you want for free on top of your 500 points. So lots of easy ways to get stuff here. So Scarif. See, these are going to be the fun ones. I think Scarif and Dagobah. Scarif is going to provide a 4-pip command card that only is going to give out 1 order to a commander. You can either give out 3 aims or 3 dodges, or your opponent reveals 3 cards of your choice. Yes, that is very powerful, but it's a 4-pip. It only gives out 1 order. And I figured, Scarif is where they keep all the plans. This is where they're planning everything. This is where the rebels go to find the plans. And I figured it would be a very appropriate thing to, you're going to give it to Cassian, and then you're going to give out 3 dodges to your special forces, or you're going to give out 3 aims to your special forces, or your core, or whatever is on there. Or you could be like, I'm going to search through all of the records and find out what they've got. So you're if you lay down this command card in your next game, basically you can just have your opponent will, like, they can lay their command cards face down, or obviously keep them in your hand, and then you will pick 3 random cards of your choice and look at them. Or you can leave them face up on the table, whatever you and your opponent agree to. But your opponent has to know that you will always have the ability to look at that card the entire round if you need. So you might as well just lay it down. Lothal is going to provide 1 free heavy unit to the player controlling it. So that is going to be a fun one. And then Dagobah. This is so good. I like this one too. So it's going to provide a training upgrade that gives 2 different things. It's going to give low profile and independent recover to the player controlling it. So, I mean, Luke, when he was on there, he was having a low profile from the Empire, so keeping it low, and he was able to recover and, train there. So I figured, you know what, let's give low profile and recover. It'll also take away basically the suppression on there. So if you've been using suppression for your low profile, well, now you won't have the suppression. So unless you're in that cover, so it kind of balances out in a way. I just thought it was really cool and provided a lot of stuff for the training upgrade. Cloud City is going to provide 1 free commander or operative to the player who wins and controls it. And then Yavin is the home world for the Rebels, and it's going to give Rebel team an extra 200 points, plus 200 points for defending it successfully. So yeah, that's all the planets for the campaign. So, who will win the campaign? I know you're asking. So, basically, there's going to be a winner from each team that'll go on to a semifinal. Basically, the players from each team who have played the most games and have won the most games will move on to the semifinal. Each era will have a top player to face off against. So, each era will have the top player face off against each other in the semifinal. So the top guard player will fight the top CIS player. The top rebel player will play the top Imperial player. And then the top 2 players will then compete for the final. And the overall winner will receive a new starter box of their choosing once they're released. And then the campaign probably shouldn't last longer than 3 months. If it does, I mean, hopefully you're having fun and, you're vying for control over this. And I'll try to make, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make the teams balanced. There needs to be 7 to 9 players, I'm assuming 7, but 9 ideally for each team. If we don't get that, we'll have to wait. So don't get discouraged if we have to wait a tiny bit for it. If I have to come down on the planets so that there's enough players and planets so that there's no waiting, I'll do that, and we'll get rid of some planets. It'll suck, to kind of get rid of some extra bonuses and whatnot, but we'll see based off of the interest that we get. So hopefully we get a lot of people interested. So if you are interested, I want you to please, let me know and find people to play. This will all be on TTS. The winner receiving the starter box. If you don't want a starter box, I'll give you the equivalent to what it cost for a starter box. Just let me know, and I'll try to send that to you the best I can. So, if you've got any questions, comment down below or ask on the Discord. I'm there checking it out, and I'm very interested in this, and I really hope that a lot of you guys are too. If you love Legion and you're just like, I want this to be like, all right, let's actually play a campaign, and there's real risks involved. Losing an operative or a commander completely, I mean, that's a real risk. So, yeah, just let me know if you're interested. It would be great to get this going soon. Just basically head on over to the Discord, join over, and then let me know what you want, and we'll get some teams going as soon as we can. But that is it, guys. Hopefully you are interested. Let me know in the description or on Discord what you're thinking, and yeah, that is the campaign. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Hopefully I will see you over in the Discord.